Good afternoon for those of you here in Europe, or good evening if you're in, where are you, Shrihari? Can you confirm?
I'm in Dubai.
Dubai. I thought you might be, but you never know. You
All
do
right,
move
yeah.
around a little bit. So there we
Good
go.
to
I'm in
confirm.
Central Europe. I'm the closest one of us to Vienna. We will be having Jethro join us at some stage too. Of course, Jethro being, let's say he has a soft spot for Thiem, and Srihari has a soft spot for Daniil Medvedev, who's obviously on the other side of the net today. They were just about to get underway, but even though they're about to start, Srihari, just give us some thoughts on this match as it begins.
Yeah, I'm excited because they're the two best players from the 1990s, and it's kind of a shame that they've only played 5 times before this, and now that they're playing after almost 2 years, it's good that they're doing so when both of them are sort of discovering their best tennis, and not with Thiem playing the way he did, say perhaps a few months ago. He's playing a lot better now. He's become really clutch, and he's rediscovering his best form. I would say he's almost there. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one. It's a bit hard to predict, I would say, and at least matchup wise, it's mostly been even between these two. But I think Medvedev will win this in 3 sets.
Yeah, I would err towards Medvedev too. I just think that Team's progress. Of course, they haven't played probably for when was the last time they played? A couple of years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was the ATP finals in the final 2 years
Oh,
ago.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and Medvedev won that, of course, but they were both, probably third and fourth best players in the world, maybe even slightly higher than that at the time, especially on a hard court.
Yes.
So, but Team is obviously a long way from there right now. He's done
Hmm.
excellently in the last few weeks, obviously beating Hubie Hurkacz recently. That, by the way, that first round match, I don't know if you saw it against Tommy Paul, that was insane.
Yeah, it was. I caught the end of the match towards. I mean, when Tommy Paul was serving for the match at 5-3, there were a couple of amazing winners from Team, especially that backhand down the line after that long exchange at love 15. And funnily, that was the only time Team was able to break Tommy Paul's serve in that entire match, and that it
Uh-huh.
came at probably the best time. And even in the tiebreaker, I think, of course, Tommy Paul got a bit tight when he had those match points on serve. But other than that, I think this was Team's fourth match win this year, saving match points. And I think every match that he's won saving match points, he's done so in a deciding set tiebreaker. So
Mhm.
that's pretty fascinating. And it's, he has beaten either tricky or really good opposition. You have JJ Wolf, who beat Hurkacz, Tommy Paul. I forget who the other one. Yeah, it was Hugo Gaston in one of those clay court tournaments. So yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. And as a tennis fan in general, I'm just happy to see Team where he is right now, considering really difficult what seemed like a really difficult climb back to where he belongs. It was tough to see him going out in straight sets consecutively from Madrid all the way to Roland Garros.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
glad that he's on his way back. Well, on his way back. I think he's back in the top 100 with his win against Tommy Paul a
I
couple
think
of
so,
days ago.
yeah. And by the way, it's 40-30. So Team took a 40-love lead, but he's just put a
Mhm.
forehand into the net. So it's
Right.
now 40-30 to Team. So he was looking like a comfortable hold, but now Medvedev fighting back in this game. No, I have a similar view. I just think on Team's comeback, if you like, I just think that maybe today might be a step too far, but he's proven me wrong already a few times in the last few weeks. So who knows?
Yeah. So it's
And then
40-30 with Team
40-30 is on the
serving.
backhand. I've got a backhand slice. He's gone for the drop shot against Medvedev. Medvedev fights back with another drop shot. Oh, listen, that could be point of the match when we come to look
Yeah.
at the end of the point. So Team has won that first game with they traded drop shots, if you like, and it did look like Medvedev was going to be the hot favorite, but Team did one of those
Yeah,
little
that was a really
digs.
good get,
Yeah, it was a really good
of
get. I mean,
Medvedev drop
he
shot.
is fast, isn't he, Team? I mean, that was one of the things that
He
he was
is.
always pretty well known for. I remember a
Yeah.
point we won against Nadal in Melbourne a few years back, and he was so far out of it. In fact, he fell over. He fell over, and he managed to get
Right.
up and still win the point.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
Yeah,
aware
that
of
was
that.
in when Team beat Nadal in the quarters in Melbourne in
It was
2020.
yeah, almost 3 years ago, right? Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a really amazing performance, and obviously fine margins decided that match. I think Team he needed all three sets to be tiebreakers to win that
Yeah.
match.
He had a few net cords as well, but can't take
Right.
anything away from him. Everything he touched went well that day.
Yeah, that's true. Right. I think Medvedev, it'll be interesting to see how he responds to. I know that team is going to throw in a lot of these slices, and Medvedev sometimes struggles to get low on those shots, like sort of out of his comfort zone. So I think that that did happen on that last point in that previous game. But Medvedev hitting the ball really well this whole tournament so far, and in Astana, it was just. I think the injury was the only thing that stopped him from winning that tournament. I would say he was playing amazingly against Djokovic, almost beat him, and hot favorite against Tsitsipas in an indoor hard court for sure. But that was thankfully just a small niggle, and he seems to be back to where he left off there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a nice point as well for Medvedev at the net. So both players at the moment looking fairly comfortable on their serves. It's 1-love to Thiem and 30-love Medvedev on serve, obviously, right here at the beginning of the match. No, I agree. I think, in a way, they're both on a comeback trail of kinds. It's just that Medvedev's drop has only been slight, but that's enough to go from, Grand Slam winner to not a Grand Slam winner, if you like, and not even looking like one since January, I would say. But he's a bit closer to the top, if you like. His fall hasn't been anywhere near as dramatic as Dominic Thiem's. And of course, Thiem had a lot of injuries, especially with the wrist. Oh, what a backhand from Thiem there. 30-15.
Ooh. Yeah, he tends to pull that off even now. And you just don't know when.
A lot of people say that it's the forehand of Thiem, though, when that's functioning well. And I remember, I think the match against Hurkacz finished with a forehand winner. So when that's functioning well, then Thiem is functioning well, if you like. I mean, it's sort of the backhand is almost a lot more reliable than the forehand, I suspect.
Yeah, it is for sure. Especially on I would say, a faster court. On clay, his forehand is the weapon. And the backhand is just an addition to the arsenal he already has. But yeah, like these backhand down the line shots I've seen quite a bit, especially during his prime a couple of years ago. And even their last match which was also in an indoor hard court at the ATP finals, there were a few shots that he did produce like this, even in the final game of that match.
Hi, Ghost. Nice to have you on board. We are very much looking forward to it. I haven't done a watch along, I think, since the Laver Cup, which probably tells you that we're also showing this a bit more love than usual, if you like, this particular match. It is certainly something that I thought was particularly interesting, given the trajectories of both players. And Shrihari and I were just sort of chatting about Medvedev and that performance that he had against Djokovic. Did that take you by surprise, Shrihari, how well Medvedev played in that match?
Not as much, because that's a matchup he enjoys quite a bit. And I figured that if there is a match where he could probably start to look like himself again, it would be against Djokovic. Firstly, it's he's a top opposition, one of the greatest players of all time, and a player in particular who Medvedev really likes to play against, at least amongst him and Nadal and Federer. So I was not really surprised to when I saw how well he was playing for probably most of the first two sets, the only two sets that they played in that match. Of course, I'm glad that that injury did not take its toll, and it's not really affected him mentally, and that he's still playing with the same sort of confidence right here. He played extremely well yesterday against Basilashvili. Of course, Basilashvili, I think, committed around 29 or 30 on forced errors in just two sets. But I think that's just a result of how good Medvedev is, counter-punching and defending as well as he does. So yeah, in a way, like you would say, I would say that I was surprised, considering how he was playing for majority of this season. He's not really looked like anything like he did last year, or even at the beginning of the season.
Just one thing, Shriri, an amazing little dink volley there at the net.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so as I was saying, not entirely by surprise, but surprised to see how well he was playing.
I just need to move my laptop slightly, but as I do, I'd like you to answer this question. Who right now right now, would you say is the second favorite? We all know who the favorite is for. Let's say the ATP Tour Finals. Who would you say is the second favorite right now going into that tournament? Assuming that Felix, I think he may or is very close to confirming the 8th spot.
Yeah, interesting. I want to say Alcaraz, but that would
But
depend. Uh, that would depend on how well he does in Basel and Paris. If he does manage to win one of both of them, or probably even both of them, you can never write that off. I would say he's the number 2 favorite behind Djokovic. I would still put Djokovic as the number 1 favorite for that tournament. Um, but yeah, Medvedev would be at least top 3, if not top 2. I would say, considering how well he's playing and historically, the conditions that he's enjoyed playing in. Yeah, maybe at this point I would give Alcaraz the slight edge, but that could change. If Medvedev does win Vienna and Alcaraz has a bit of a dip again, doesn't win a title going into Turin, it could be Medvedev ahead of Alcaraz. Another backhand down the line, rocket. I don't think I can hear you. I think you're muted. Okay. Oh, I can't hear you. It's weird.
I was just muted. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Perfect.
Yeah, so I was just doing my move, basically just telling the audience that if there is anything sensational happening in this match, i.e. a break point, a set point, or even just in a sensational moment, shall we say, we will be highlighting it. So I know we're getting sidetracked with other issues, but yeah. Sorry, what were you saying there about Felix? I mean, I have a funny feeling, or I had a funny feeling, although I don't think he played particularly well yesterday.
Mhm.
I had a funny feeling for Felix regarding these upcoming tournaments, just because we tend to get, or we have in the last 5 years, had to get we've always got not a left field winner, but we've always got a winner, a Zverev, a Tsitsipas, if you like. Who am I missing in the last 2 or 3 years? Medvedev, of course, in 2020. You always get one of the pretenders, if you like, to the big
Yes.
three in the last 5 or 6 years. And then we turn up in Australia and we think one of the pretenders is gonna carry on and kick on from where they were in November, and they just don't kick on, and they don't even kick on arguably for another year or so, with the exception of probably Medvedev, of course, obviously winning the US Open in 2021, but even he couldn't quite match, or didn't even come close to matching Djokovic in the 2021 Australian Open final. I mean, that was pretty one-sided.
Yes.
This is a good rally, by the way. Some nice forehand slices from both players. Great drop shot, or probably not quite
Ooh.
good enough there from Thiem. Goes long there, Dominic Thiem, and it's now 40-30 on his serve. Go on, Shrihari, hit me with your thoughts.
Yeah, just 2 games or 3 games in, and already seeing some fascinating rallies here. But yeah, I think you do have a point. And Felix, yeah, he's carrying some great form right now, back-to-back titles. And yesterday, I was happy to see that he ended up winning. I did see that he was down a set against Marc-Andrea Huesler. But yeah, I mean, like you said, that it definitely could happen. I would never write him off against pretty much any of the players who are competing at the tournament. For him to beat them, he's beaten Novak at the Laver Cup, as I mentioned before. Pushed Nadal to 5 sets at RG. He can beat Medvedev. It's not like he cannot. He came really close to doing that in Australia. He's beaten Alcaraz again at Davis Cup, just a month ago. So yeah, I think and Rublev as well is a player. He's I don't know if they played recently. I don't think they did, but he did beat him in
Rublev, by
Norway.
the way, I think we've got to talk about Rublev. He's just
Yeah,
lost again today.
to
I say
Dimitrov.
again, he doesn't normally lose this early in tournaments, but he's just lost to Dimitrov about an hour ago, I think it was, or half an hour ago,
Mhm.
in straight sets. And we
Yes.
also saw some more. I saw him, what did he do? I think he headbutted his racket, and then I saw him hold his head like that. And
Yeah, I just wish if he wants to, he can just once in a while smash a racket. He's doing all of this just to avoid a code violation, and it's a little unpleasant to see the self harm that he's inducing at this moment. But yeah, I wouldn't worry much about this loss. I think Dimitrov, if he wants to, he can play really well. Look like a top 10 player again. He's very mercurial in that aspect, and I can see why. I mean, their head-to-head was 3-2 for Rublev going into that match, so it was pretty much in the balance. And I was not really surprised that Dimitrov played quite well and was able to win. I'm not really concerned about that. I think he can definitely. Uh, it depends on what group he lands in Turin. I think he's missed out on making the groups, the semifinals, pretty narrowly back to back. In 2020, he had match points, lost to Tsitsipas. And he obviously lost to Rude in that third set tiebreaker, and that deciding match in his group as to who would go through to the semifinal. But yeah, these are again conditions that he can play well in. I'm not sure if he'll beat the likes of, say, Djokovic or Nadal, or maybe even Medvedev. But with him and Felix, it's always a toss-up. I think he did beat him to win Marseille, even though he lost to him in Rotterdam in the semifinal this year. But yeah, I do think that's again a 50-50 kind of matchup between Felix and Rublev. But yeah, Felix definitely a massive dark horse for that tournament if he does manage to get in, which I think is very likely because Fritz lost yesterday to Shapovalov. That really hurts his chances right now. So it looks quite likely that Felix is the eighth player or seventh player. I think Novak is like the eighth player. Logistically speaking, to make it through to Turin. But yeah,
Yeah.
Felix definitely a massive dark horse who players would not really want to face, because if he's playing well, it completely depends on that. Based on recent form, you can't really tell how well Felix is going to fare at a tournament. We saw at the U.S. Open, he looked good in Cincinnati, and then he loses, pretty convincingly to Jack Draper in the second round. It's not a good loss at all. It's a pretty bad loss. So yeah, it just completely depends. But as we know, Felix does turn up big time against these top players. At least he's done so this year.
Just a quick heads up over in Basel. We've got Basel and Vienna running concurrently this week on the ATP Tour. Next week, obviously, Paris-Bercy. But this week, we've got Vienna and Basel in the neighboring countries around the Alps. And in Basel right now, Andy Murray is playing Bautista Agut. They are on serve. And it's 4-3 to the Spaniard. So it's on serve, but it's getting towards the business end of that set. So it'll be interesting to see. How are your thoughts on Andy Murray, where he's at, and this year as a whole?
Yeah, I spoke to my friend Nick about this yesterday. It's
Nick
really,
Carter, yeah.
really, really hard to predict. How he's gonna play on a given day. It doesn't matter who he's playing. Either he can. I mean, I thought he was losing to Sarundul at the U.S. Open. He beat him quite convincingly in the end. I thought he was going to crash out against Emilio Nava after that first set. A nice drop shot from Medvedev. And yeah,
Really
but
nice,
he
yeah.
did come through that pretty easy. It wasn't even close after that second set. I think it was 6-1 in 6-love. He played a good set against Berrettini in the third round. But yeah, other than that, and speaking about Bautista Agut himself, that's the player he lost to 6-love, 6-1 in Doha this year, which
Okay.
you just wonder. Right. I think before that, he beat Taro Daniel, which was a pretty good win going into that match, and it was not even close. He just completely got destroyed. So yeah, I think if he's able to keep up a consistent level, he can definitely be back in the top 20 at best, I would say. Still, the metal hip, and I would say more than the metal hip, if you compare him just when you talk about changes they've made since injury layoffs, or like coming back from a pretty serious injury. Andy Murray plays a very similar game to what he always has, which I think is counterproductive for him. If he's still reliant on grinding out points or getting into long exchanges. I don't know if it's really helping him at this moment. You saw Djokovic ever since he came back in 2018, where after undergoing elbow surgery, you see that he's improved parts of his game, such that he shortens points quite a bit. Same thing with Rafa as well. He's done that significantly now. He shortens a lot of his points, even on clay. So yeah, I think Andy Murray is sort of not really done that, and that's the main thing that's hurting him. And I think if he did implement some tweaks to his game to sort of compete with the current crop of players and still be sustainable, he probably would have already cracked the top 20 maybe a couple of months ago or so, I would say.
By the way, that's a funny comment there from Ghost. Yeah, I think maybe some of my other comments about royalty in general may mean I don't quite get the OBE, but you never know. I may be one of the hipsters, Ghosty, and just reject it anyway. Listen, I just want to give a heads up because there was a comment earlier from Jane, which was really nice, that she was saying that she was enjoying the content on Talking Tennis. Here it is. And Ghosty was super nice to agree with her. And I just want to mention a few things that are on the channel or coming up on the channel. I've done a few Let's Talks recently, one on Stefanos Tsitsipas, which I think I did with Vanch at the beginning of the week, on Sunday, I think it was. And also there's one on Dominic Thiem that I did a couple of days ago, just ahead of, or actually I think it was yesterday or the day before, just ahead of his unbelievable match with Tommy Paul, whenever that was. Make sure you check that out. Those videos are out there and available. Also, there is a competition to win a hat, which I'm sure you're so excited. By the way, I'm talking to the audience right now, Shuhui, so you don't need to worry. I'm not
Yes,
talking
of
about
course.
you being.
Yeah, I figured.
Although you can be excited too about the hat,
Right.
but I don't know. You're donning your Lacoste Daniil Medvedev shirt today, so I'm not quite sure if this hat would quite come up to that level. But by the way, for those of you concerned as well, thinking I don't want that hat after it's been on John's head, don't worry. I have two. The other one is on my shelf in the office where often I broadcast from. So you will see it again in the very near future. But anyway, there's a competition to win that hat. All you have to do is tweet or comment below this video who won the men's US Open singles title this year and the women's US Open singles title this year. And you will have an excellent chance. I say excellent. You never know. But anyway, you have a chance of winning a hat like this. Okay. Also, regarding some other content that's on your way, on the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing shows on matches of the year on both the men's and the women's side. Also got some pretty cool guests lined up for that. So watch this space. I'm also going to be interviewing, I think I'm going to be doing an interview with Simon Graf, who's a Swiss journalist. We're going to be talking about Stan Wawrinka next week. And Simon Graf and Simon Chambers is from the UK, have just written and published, or on the verge of publishing, a book about Roger Federer. I'm going to be touching on that with Simon Graf next week. He's the co-author of that book. But I'm also going to be interviewing Simon Chambers in a couple of weeks as well about that book. So that is all coming up on the channel. And I'm telling you, there's even more coming up. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Back to today, though, Shrihari. It's comfortable for both players. They're both on serve. Team is leading 3-2, and there's not even been a break point yet. So I think this has been an encouraging start, probably slightly more for Dominic Thiem, just because I had Medvedev as the slight favorite going into it.
Yeah, and that was the first love hold of the match as well for either player from Dominic Thiem. I think at the moment it looks like he's having the slight upper hand in these long exchanges. That definitely could change. Knowing Medvedev, you can never really tire him out completely. He's gonna play the way he plays from start to finish, at least if he's playing well. And that seems to be the case. I think both players are playing at a very high level. Some of these rallies are really fascinating, and each player is bringing the other to the net, and there's some pretty nice exchanges at the net as well. Drop shots over drop shots, and then Thiem is he got that really amazing get to hold for the first game at 40-30. So yeah, I think otherwise no player's been really troubled on serve yet. 5 games into it. But yeah, it's kind of. But I did expect this level from both players because they're, like I said, the one thing that's fascinating about today's match is that they're both sort of rediscovering their best tennis. After
Another ball that Thiem chased down there at the net. He got his racket on it,
yes,
and with some
Medvedev
interest
should
by
have definitely done better with that drop
he
shot.
should have
That's
done, but it's still a lovely backhand down the line
yeah,
winner for the team.
for sure.
15 all now on the Medvedev serve.
It's
I'll
also
talk us
the
through.
first Medvedev versus Team clash, if I'm not wrong, where Medvedev's the higher ranked player.
Okay, did you say it's the first time that's happened?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Because
Okay.
last time was at the ATP finals. Team was ranked number 3. Medvedev was 5. Of course, he got to number 4 after winning the title. At the US Open, same story, 3 and 5 respectively. And yeah, I don't think before that they played in St. Petersburg 2018, which Team won the deciding set tiebreaker. Medvedev, I think it was just outside the top 20 or top 15 at the time. And Team, of course, was a top 10 player. Same thing at Barcelona in
Yeah.
2019. So this is the
And of
first
course,
time.
they have a 3-2 head-to-head in Dominic Thiem's favor, but one of those is
Yes.
on clay. So maybe we can just pretty much ignore that, meaning on hard, they're 2-all, really.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, this is a very different period for both players. And of course, form is always a big thing. Head-to-head and matchups do matter. But I think right now with both of these players, I think form is probably even more important. That's a nice drop shot there from Thiem, but didn't quite work. And in the end, he forces the error there, Daniil Medvedev. So it's now 40-15. So once again, we're looking at a fairly comfortable service game for each player. But on this occasion, it's Daniil Medvedev as he threatens to level the match at 3-all.
Yep. I think they're both dialed in as well. You see pretty frequent fist bumps, especially from Medvedev. You don't see that as often. So they do know, how important this kind of matchup is, and they recognize how good one another is, which is nice to see. And I think I don't know if many people know this, but Medvedev shared an interesting story before their final, 2 years ago in London. For at the ATP finals, he did say that he played against Thiem on clay at Futures when he was, I think, 13 or 14 and Thiem was 16. And I think Thiem had just made the final of the boys Roland Garros at the time, and they played and Thiem just completely destroyed him. And at the net, Thiem did tell Medvedev that you're a really good player, but you need to control your temper. Yeah, he did say that, and Medvedev shared that story, as a pretty interesting anecdote.
Yeah.
And just purely based on that, it's really nice to see that where both of these players are at the moment.
Yeah.
Easily,
On the topic of
without really a debate, they're the best players, born in the 1990s on the men's tour.
Got it. And what's going to happen here on this point? This is turning into an epic rally. That Thiem wins with a forehand winner down the line, and it's now deuce. First deuce of the match. Just as I was saying, Medvedev was threatening to level up at 3-all. He loses 2 consecutive points, but arguably Thiem won both of those 2 points. So we've got our first deuce of the match. If we get a break point, I'll come back to it. But I want to, you were on the topic of Roland Garros there, and Ghosty asked the question, does Thiem's resurgence mean he's Nadal's top competition for the French Open in 2023? I'll ask you in a second, Shrihari, before, but I'll just say what I think, and that is simply that I would say right now, no, but 6 months is a long time in tennis. Shrihari, go for it.
Yeah, I do agree. This far out, it's hard for me to predict, hard for anyone to predict, really. But as it stands, obviously Alcaraz is, I would say, the biggest threat. Or Djokovic and Alcaraz maybe, equally. That's a really nice volley from Medvedev. Djokovic and Alcaraz still remain his, Nadal's biggest threats at Roland Garros. And by threats, the ones who have a chance to beat him. It's not that, they're threats, that means they're going to beat him. With Nadal at Roland Garros, you do need to have a few things going your way on that particular day to really beat him. And one of them, one of those things is you have to play at a bonkers level of tennis, like we saw with Djokovic last year in the semifinal. Thiem, I don't know if he'll get there. that soon. Medvedev's just double faulted. Yeah, I don't know if he'll get there that soon. It depends again on his ranking at the time. Hopefully, he'll be in the at least top 30 by then. Um, but yeah, but for
Bautista
team, I think.
Agut, by the way. Bautista Agut has won that first set against Andy Murray.
Oh,
And we're
right. So
just so
team,
everyone knows, we're at juice now between Medvedev and Thiem. Medvedev did take an advantage, but as you said, he double faulted. So we're now back to juice. But yeah, Bautista Agut won 6-3. It's now advantage to Medvedev after an unreturnable serve. Sorry to interrupt you there, Shrihari.
no worries. Yeah. So I think team was a little unfortunate in 2020 because that was his best chance to beat Nadal. I would say best chance, as in compared to uh, how he's fared before that. I think they played 4 times, and only once his team managed to take a set. And 3, I think a couple of them were complete beatdowns. So yeah, I think Thiem was playing the tennis of his life. He was dragged to a really long match against Schwartzman. You just never know if Thiem won that. He was looking like the best player at that moment in the world, winning US Open. He made the final in Australia. He did beat Nadal there, and there were talks about Nadal not really enjoying the conditions that year at RG, which is funny because he did win without dropping even a set. But yeah, I think that was a huge chance. 2021. I still don't understand how he lost that match against Pablo Andujar from 2 sets up. I had him. I had him making the final,
Okay.
beating Tsitsipas in the semifinal. And maybe Zverev. Yeah, it was Zverev in the quarterfinal, and Zverev ended up getting Davidovich Fokina instead in the quarterfinal. So yeah.
Given the fitnesses, ages, and given their fitnesses and ages, simply as that, it would be amazing and may only be able to happen next year. But to have Dominic Thiem, Novak Djokovic, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Rafael Nadal, and Carlos Alcaraz, and I might be missing another clay court specialist, if you like, or a top clay court player. I might be
Maybe
missing someone.
Zverev if he's fit.
Yeah, let's say Zverev in there as well. Yeah, fair enough. Having those, I think 6 or 7 players that I just mentioned, having all of those at somewhere near their peaks, if you like, or somewhere near the top of their games. I'm not saying that Alcaraz won't improve. Of course he will. I'm not saying that maybe Nadal is the same player he was 10 years ago on clay, etc. But I'm just saying that to have all of those on top of their game going into the French Open or at the French Open would just be amazing. And it is possible. It is possible. It wasn't that long ago that Dominic Thiem was unbelievable on clay. It wasn't that long ago that Stefanos Tsitsipas was 2-0 up on Novak Djokovic in the French Open final after an unbelievable clay season. Alcaraz and Nadal, I think, are the sort of more consistent performers in the last 12 months, and that's why we see them as obvious candidates at Roland Garros. Djokovic, of course, is always a candidate wherever he plays, and especially or definitely at Roland Garros as well. So, and Zverev, if fit, is a Roland, is good on clay. I mean, actually, Germany has probably more clay courts than hard or grass. So, despite the fact he's a big server, and we might think of him on other courts, he's an excellent clay court player. He's won Madrid on one occasion. He's been in the final. He's been at the Roland Garros semi-finals on 2 occasions. I even think without the injury, he might even have beaten Nadal this year.
He's won Rome as well in 2017.
He's won Rome as well, exactly. And it was such a weird French Open semi-final between him and Rafa that he could have won that match. I would say it was at the point of his injury, I would say it was 60-40 in Nadal's favor. It was really that close as far as I was concerned, just because it seemed like Nadal was laboring somewhat and he could barely win a point on his serve at times. Anyway, this is on serve, but Thiem now, it looks like he's just gone long there. So he's 15-30.
Thiem's forehand, wouldn't you say it's, slowly shaping up to be what it was? To the back end of 2020, in the 2019-2020 stretch, because you see some of these rallies, especially the one at Love 15, the way he was striking the forehand, it was just amazing. And it doesn't look like he's sort of tentative anymore on that shot, which was the case for many months together this season. So yeah, that was...
He wins the next point with an unreturnable, so that's 30 all now.
Yeah, that was a really good serve up the tee.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be interesting to have a lot of these players in the mix for next clay season, especially Roland Garros, when it's always looked like it's only one man is going to end up taking all of the spoils towards the end of the fortnight.
Oh, by
But
the way, let's throw Casper Ruud in there as well. I
oh
mean,
yeah, we did forget Casper Ruud, but that's the thing with Casper Ruud is that at this point I'm not sure which surface I would say is his best.
okay,
He's done just as well on hard courts as well. He's made a Grand Slam final, a Masters final.
Masters final. Yeah.
I don't think he's not made a Masters.
A lucky net cord for Dominic Thiem, meaning 40-30. Sorry, carry on. Casper
Yeah,
Ruud.
he's not. I just saw that point, maybe a few seconds behind you, but yeah, he's not. He's not made a final at a clay court Masters yet. Although I think he's made like 4 semifinals so far, 2 in Rome and 1 in Madrid, 1 in Monte Carlo. But yeah, and sure he's won a bunch of 250s on clay, but and aside from beating Tsitsipas in Madrid, I can't remember a noteworthy win for him on that surface. Although on hard court he's beaten Zverev in Miami this year. He beat Rublev last year in Turin. I think he's not beaten Rublev before that. And he did make the final at the US Open, beating Berrettini and Hachinov. I think those are sort of better wins than he's generally had on clay, I would say.
Thiem just there with an unforced error, meaning it's now deuce. So it's the first deuce on Thiem's serve, having just had a deuce on Medvedev's. Anyway, so it's 3-all deuce. Couldn't be closer in that respect. Respect to Ghosty's comment here. He doesn't trust Djokovic in the second week of a slam. Well, Ghosty, I don't even trust him in the first week of a slam, bearing in mind Tsitsipas's record this year at Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the US Open, where he went out in the first week of all of those 3. So he's not made the second week. Here you go. Here's something for you. Tsitsipas hasn't made the second. It'll be a year in January since Tsitsipas made the second week of a slam.
He did make the second week at RG, right? He made the 4th round.
Oh, did he? Sorry, you're right. He did.
Right, yeah.
It might have been on the Sunday. That might be why I'm getting confused. But
yeah. So I guess
he's
technically
he's not made the quarter,
but it is in a way second week because RG begins on a Sunday. So
yeah, exactly. That's true. But he's not made the quarterfinal anywhere with slams.
Badness from Thiem.
Yeah, and that's breakpoint Daniil Medvedev. I will talk us through this point because obviously it's a big one. So we've got advantage Daniil Medvedev. That's a really wayward forehand from Dominic Thiem. He was close up at the net. He really should be putting that in. He should be putting it in probably as a winner. And it was quite comfortably out. Okay, so here we go. Thiem is serving. He's facing break point. It's 3-all. Really crucial point this in terms of the match. Thiem gets his first serve in. He's now got a smash and he puts it away. That was an excellent serve there that Daniil Medvedev couldn't do much with. Lofted it up and Thiem put it away. And so there'll be relief for the Austrian and all his support. By the way, the atmosphere, and I know what it is like. I'm just going to bring Jethro in, and then I will speak to you in a second, Jethro. But he's got his snazzy microphone.
Yeah.
Really?
Do let me know if it's too loud. By the way, I'm still playing with this thing.
It's great. It's great. I'll be putting a question to you in a second, so get ready for that. And it might be related to your microphone. It might be related to tennis. Let's see. And Thiem is got to go for a second serve because he went wide on that one. It's a close call, according to Hawkeye, just out there to the left in the tram line. So it's deuce here, 3-all. Dominic Thiem serving. I forget what I was saying right now. Just before I saw Jethro, I was about to say something very important, but
did I throw you off, John?
You did, but I think it might have been the snazzy microphone. Anyway, whatever it was, it would have probably been something very intelligent. Anyway, look at this. Here we go. We've got a forehand here from Dominic Thiem on the backhand slice of Dominic Thiem. He's being pushed around at the moment. He's certainly the underdog in this point, I would say. On the forehand, now they exchange. I'd say it's probably 50-50 right now. Backhand from Thiem. Cross-court backhands they're exchanging. Does Thiem go long with the backhand slice? He does. And he shrugs his shoulders. And it's advantage Daniil Medvedev. Jethro, great to have you on board. I think we've got some signs of a Dominic Thiem supporting T-shirt there. Yes. There we go. We can see, obviously, Srihari rocking the Daniil Medvedev look as well. So
that's a nice top. That's a really nice top.
Thanks, man.
I
really liked it. I'm just wearing a shame it wasn't a Grand Slam winning attire. Real shame.
Is that the one from Australia, is it?
Yes. So close.
I'm wearing a t-shirt with Seville written on it, so it's very touristy, but that's nothing to do with tennis whatsoever. Jethro, listen, let's just go through this point very quickly because Medvedev has a break point, and has Dominic Thiem gone long? No, he hasn't. He's hit the baseline, so they're in the middle of a rally right now, and it's all about who's going to lose their nerve first, I would argue, or even win the nerve battles, if you like. Backhand from Dominic Thiem is excellent, as you'd expect. Forehand from Dominic Thiem, not bad either, though, and he forces the error from Daniil Medvedev. Deuce. Jethro, give me some thoughts.
So I've had this on in the background, so I haven't paid in full attention, but it seemed pretty good so far from both players. Team's, holding his own so far, which is good to see. Obviously, Medvedev's definitely the best player that he's come up against since his return. He had Berrettini on clay and was quite soundly beaten. So this is already a big improvement on that, I would say. So yeah, pretty impressed so far.
By the way, a comment here from Ghosty aimed at you, Jethro. He says your microphone and him might be off to Glastonbury together in terms of the colours and the hipster nature of it. By the way, Ghosty seems to be big on his British culture today. He's mentioned the royal family, he's mentioned OBEs, and he's now mentioning Glastonbury. It'll be tea and scones next, no doubt. There's another comment as well about aliens here from Ghosty as well.
That's a good point.
So there we go.
Your backhand's long, and
yes, it is. So it's another break point for Medvedev. I will be coming to you in a minute, Shrihari, for some thoughts from you. But I want to talk through this point first because, again, I think it's his third break point of this particular game. Medvedev is under pressure now. Dominic Thiem is under pressure right now, serving advantage down, so to speak. So Dominic Thiem will be desperate for a first serve. He's going to get a first serve in. He does down the tee. And he forces the error. Wasn't the best first serve, and I think Medvedev will be particularly disappointed with that because despite being a first serve, it felt more like it was coming at almost second serve speed. I think Thiem was obviously a bit conservative on that one, but forcing the error all the same. Shrihari, give me some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first break point where I think Medvedev actually could have done something better because the previous two saves were just some really good tennis from Thiem, actually forcing the error from Medvedev there. I think that serve was sort of intentional from Thiem because he knows that Medvedev doesn't really like a neutral ball. He works really well. There was an ace. Yeah, he works really well with a ball that has a lot of speed on it. And I did see Zverev doing this quite a bit in Turin last year in their round robin match. He was intentionally dropping all of the second serve short at around 140, 145 kilometers an hour. So that was a good serve. Obviously, Medvedev should have done better. And now Thiem has game point for 4-3.
Yeah, agree with you. I think that was a chance for Medvedev and pretty much the first one amongst the 3 break points he had. I know what I was going to say. I think I know what I was in the middle of saying, or I just remember saying it earlier. The atmosphere for the match between Tommy Paul and Thiem, or Thiem's just gone long again on the forehand. It's the forehand that's letting him down in this game. Now back to Deuce. But the atmosphere for that match against Tommy Paul, I mean, it was an excellent match. It would have been an excellent match anyway. But the fact that it was in Austria, in the midst of this, and I keep calling it the comeback, but I think we all know what we mean by that. With Dominic Thiem, it just made it electric. And at times I felt sorry for Tommy Paul. I think it always is a bit unfortunate when you're the person who's in someone else's backyard, so to speak. But he seemed to take defeat quite well, and he also waved to the crowd. There didn't seem to be any bad and any animosity there. I think the crowd were fair as well. They weren't booing or interrupting his serves or anything like that. So I think he appreciated that. And but listen, Dominic Thiem certainly appreciated, and he celebrated it almost as if he'd won. Oh, he's gone long again on the forehand, and you could see him getting frustrated.
That's a bad miss because he set up the point so well with the back.
He did such a good backhand. Yeah, I thought the crowd, they did cheer a bit when Tommy Paul would miss a first serve at times, which was a bit uncalled for.
So a first serve, really? Yeah. Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a good guy, Tommy Paul, and he took that very well, actually.
Yeah,
there's a lot of players who would have been quite annoyed about that. I wouldn't have blamed them, but they were just rooting for Thiem. How could they not? He's their local hero.
Absolutely. Second serve here for Dominic Thiem, facing his 4th break point. Let's see how this point pans out. Here we go. Second serve now. He's gone long. It's a double fault. It's a double fault. It's a loose serve. Dominic Thiem.
That's a relief. I mean,
that's going to hurt.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, so many, but that game, I mean, he had so many chances to win that game, arguably even more than Daniil Medvedev, despite the fact Medvedev had 4 break points. And he kind of, too many forehand errors in the end, and obviously the double fault as well. Jethro, that's a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I was just going inside to get a few things to set up and I missed the points leading up to deuce basically in the game. So did he have a 40-15 lead or?
No, he faced the break point, I think
40-30 up, yeah.
Or 40-30, yeah. Yeah, so it wasn't crazy like that. I think it was basically that the game really came alive at deuce. And that's when there were some very good points between the two, but there was also some loose forehands in particular. By the way, Bautista Agut is a set up on Andy Murray, as I mentioned earlier, and it looked like Bublik had won his first set. Oh, and Bautista Agut is also an early breakup in the second set, so it's 2-1 for the Spaniard there.
It's a bad matchup for Murray, which is weird because you wouldn't expect him to be out-grinded and out-foxed by Bautista Agut as good as he is. And I was going to say, Thiem's been in those positions in service games quite a lot recently where he's kind of battling away at deuce. He had it against Paul, he had it against Hurkacz, and he's managed to find a way out. But Medvedev is, he's a class above these players, and he gets these extra balls back that, a lot of his team's recent opponents don't get, and puts balls in awkward positions. And I think that's probably where the fine line's been there on him getting broken.
Yeah, also Ghosty here mentioned that Thiem gave Tommy Paul a lot of love the other day, which was great, and it was just an epic match. I mean, I think he saved 3 match points. I might be wrong on that. It might have been 2, but was it 2? Okay. But he was also 6-4 down, I think, in the tie break, which obviously, it seems it's a mini break anyway. And so, of course, he saves those 2 match points. That was the 2 match points, of course, he saved. But also, don't forget, Tommy Paul was serving for the match as well, albeit that he didn't get any match points on his serve in that moment. And that was just epic. And one of the things I loved about the crowd, by the way, was there was someone in the crowd who seemed about, I'm going to guess, 8 or 9 years old, giving fist pumps. And there was also somebody at the other end of the age scale, I hope they don't mind me saying, who was maybe in their 70s, for example, doing exactly the same with the fist pumps. And it was just kind of funny and great to see.
Yeah. No, I didn't see it, but Filip Misalic, the Austrian player, is on the challenger circuit at the moment. Apparently he was just losing his mind in the stands.
Yeah, John, the score is 4-3 for Medvedev.
Oh, thanks very much for that correction there. Thank you.
I was scared for a second because I remembered Medvedev breaking serve, and I was like, okay, did I have a brain fade or something? But yeah, it's 30-15.
We're just spreading misinformation.
Of course, he double faulted at 15 love. It's good to see that.
So as Jethro was highlighting there, I apologize for the spreading of misinformation. Okay, so it's 30-all now, though. So Thiem will be looking to get a quick break back while Medvedev tries to consolidate. By the way, Jethro, both... did that land in or did that go out? I think he let that one go.
It was just out.
No, it was just long.
Just out. Okay, so we got that one right. Anyway, it's 30-all. So it's tight on this one. Let's see how this point pans out. And Medvedev gets an ace. So it's 40-30 and game point for a 5-point lead. Jethro, you might not be too happy to hear this, but both Srihari and I were predicting a Medvedev win. Srihari was going in 3. I don't even remember if I gave a prediction in terms of the sets. Maybe I went for 3 as well. But can you understand why we would err towards that?
Oh yeah, of course. I thought I would have said Medvedev's the heavy favorite anyway.
Heavy, okay.
Yeah, I mean, as good as Thiem's playing these days, it's, again, as I said, this is the toughest opponent he's had since he came back from injury. And although he can match up well with Medvedev at times, it's not an easy match to face in his current state. That was a good point from Thiem, though.
Very good point. It's now back to deuce, and I'll just quickly mention what happened in that point. I thought that the team had won the point with that backhand, but excellent defense from Medvedev, keeping him in the point. But then an excellent little dink drop shot, if you like, as he came towards the net from Dominic Thiem, ended up with the double bounce, meaning it's back to deuce. And Medvedev has gone long on his first serve, so it is now deuce. It's a double fault from Daniil Medvedev, and we've got break point. So I will talk us through this particular point because we've got first break point of the match for Dominic Thiem. It's the second consecutive game. Both were pretty comfortable on serve until 3-all, I think it was. It might have been 3-2, actually. Medvedev then gets to deuce a few times on his own serve. Now he's facing his first break point, so to speak. Thiem has his first break point of the match. Let's see how that pans out. But it's an excellent first serve from Daniil Medvedev, as we know he can do when he's in tight spots. I remember against Felix in January in Melbourne, where he was facing match points in that match, or at least one, and he saved that with some excellent serving.
I need to rewatch that match. God, that's one of my favorite matches of the year, actually.
Yeah, same here. I mean, just remember staying up until 6 a.m. when I was in Arizona. And I had to literally just shower and run to class right after. I didn't even get sleep. I was just up all night watching that match. It was just incredible. I don't think I can sort of recall any match like that. The feelings that I went through during that match for a player who was not Novak Djokovic, at least for me. And
Thiem has gone wide on that lob, and it is 5-3 now. And
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad miss, but you know what I mean. I mean,
that was a poor miss, I think.
To go wide on a topspin lob is a bit careless, if you like, or I don't know what the right word is, but you know what I mean. 51 minutes, by the way, this set has taken, despite the fact that for a long time they both seem fairly comfortable on serve. That just suggests there's been some pretty good rallies, and it does feel like that too. Mm-hmm. So it's 5-3 Medvedev. Thiem serving to stay in this first set. That Felix Medvedev match, I think I caught the latter stages of that at an airport on my phone. So it was quite difficult for me to keep abreast of that. And I think I certainly missed an epic.
Yeah, it really was an epic. Felix sort of completely bulldozed him for, I would say, the first two sets. And then maybe Medvedev got a bit fortunate with the roof closing just before the beginning of the third set tiebreaker. But I think he was still playing well enough. He was down love 34-all in that third set, and he did well to dig himself out of that game. Pushed it to a tiebreaker, which I think was fairly comfortable for him. And then Felix at match point, which Medvedev saved with that 212 kilometers an hour first serve, and let out a huge roar, which I don't think I've seen him that animated as he was towards the end of that match, the final two sets. And it was insane to me to see that he was still believing that he could win even down two sets, and having held for 5-4 in the third set. He was like fist pumping and roaring and all of that. It's like, and it seemed a bit hampered too. I think it was his hamstring. He got some treatment for it, if I'm not wrong. So I didn't think he was going to win. And then, he just played. I don't even think you can say Felix choked. He still played very well towards the end of the match. So
he may have had some break points, Shrihu. He may have had some break points as well against the Medvedev serve in that final set to try and get back on serve, if I remember rightly.
Which set was this?
Felix against Medvedev in Australia.
Oh yeah, I think it was the first set. Felix served for it 6-5 and Medvedev broke back. But other than that, I don't think there were any breakbacks in that match.
No. But what I thought was, from memory, it might have been when Medvedev was trying to close it out. I think
he was 15-40 down. Yes,
exactly,
and then I remember he pushed that forehand really long. Going down the line, and he was 15-40 down.
This time his team succeeded with the lob. No, he's gone long. So it's 40-15 to Medvedev.
3 errors in a row from Thiem.
Yeah.
He's
just sort of kept
fallen off a lot. Yeah.
I'm not gonna celebrate just yet, because I did watch that US Open semifinal, and that they played 2 years ago. And Just the
Oh, of
second set
course.
and the third set. My
Of
God, that was
course.
heartbreaking.
Team, of course, Team beat Medvedev in their probably their biggest and most important match to date, that
So far,
semi-final. Yeah, Team's going down the T, so it's 15-40 here right now. Of course, 2 break and of course 2 set points for the Russian at the moment. Forehand though, is that going to be enough to win the point? He's coming to the net. Is it going to go long? No, it's not. It's got a tweener. We're back in the point. It's reset. Okay, forehand now to the backhand of Dominic Thiem, to the forehand of Medvedev. Forehand goes long, and it's the set for Daniil Medvedev, 6-3.
Oh.
Another unforced error there again, and that's 14 now in total for the match from Dominic Thiem in this set alone. I think that's too many if you want to be beating a person of Daniil Medvedev's quality.
Yeah, Basilashvili had 29 yesterday. Let's see if Thiem matches up to that.
That's nothing for Basilashvili. He usually hits about 100.
All right, for 6-2, 6-2, I think that's quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
right.
not good.
Yeah.
He made a very good start, Basilashvili, actually, and at that point had
winners,
an
my
easy
God,
put away.
15-5. Okay, I mean, I guess you have to look at the ratio in that manner, because 17 unforced errors to 8. So yeah, Thiem kind of has the edge there as well. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I
mean, they don't really account for forced errors, I guess. So.
Yeah,
Medvedev's one of those players who makes it look like an unforced error.
Yeah.
When it's like Djokovic, isn't it? Like unforced error stats often look quite high against Novak, but that's like when you're on your 36th shot of the rally and you can't get through these guys, an error's going to come. But yeah.
So we're going to have a little break, of course, as we often do at the end of these sets. It looks like Dominic Thiem is taking a little break. So I will just mention what's going on elsewhere. We're not quite as hectic as the first week of a slam, but there is plenty of tennis going on. And Bautista Agut is leading 3-2 in that second set. So he is a set and a break up, as I mentioned before. Andy Murray, by the way, was, of course, in an epic himself on, I think it was on Tuesday, when he wins in 3 sets against Safiullin, and I'm probably butchering his name, after losing the first set in a tight tie break. So that's there, but Andy Murray fans will be quaking in their boots, no doubt, as they look at their man who's almost on the verge of defeat there with a 3-2 and down a break in the second set, having lost the first 6-3, which is exactly the same scoreline that of course, Daniil Medvedev won that first set with a double break in the end. But it just seemed to be at the most important moments, the forehand in particular, but there were a couple of stray lobs as well from Dominic Thiem and a double fault as well to get broken serve for the first time. As my TV feed is showing us some sausages around Vienna.
Yeah, mine as well.
Same.
Oh, you've got the same feed. Okay, yeah. I'm watching it on Sky. I don't know where you guys are.
Okay, I'm watching a tennis TV.
Tennis TV, yeah.
I'm Amazon Prime.
Okay. So we're watching three different feeds, but I've now looked at
a gorilla playing tennis in a video game right now.
Yeah, some unusual thing, but there we go. Austrian culture for you, and I don't know if either of you two have ever been to Vienna, but it is a great city.
Yeah, I'd love to go there. I've just seen it from, watching this tournament and having people I know go there and post pictures of them being in the city. It's just really beautiful.
Yeah. What about your man for this second set, Jethro? What are we looking at here? What's he got to do? How are you feeling?
Sorry, I had to step away for a sec.
Oh, no problem. What
do
you
you
think about? Yeah, what about this second set, Jethro? What are your thoughts?
I think he'll be better. Well, I hope he will, because those last few games weren't too good. But yeah. He kept up with them for the first 6 games,
I like how they have to fill up their own water bottles. That's kind of cool there. It's almost like they might just come across somebody at the coffee machine at work. You're just there and you go, oh, you're new here, right? Yeah, I am. And what are you up to? Just fill them a bottle of water. Oh, okay. All right. Well, see you later. As they have their little moment there at the water fountain, if you like, or the water machine. Daniil Medvedev is ready to serve. Dominic Thiem, by the way, is still looking fairly fresh. So that's something to be optimistic about. Jethro, what are your thoughts ahead of this second set?
Well, he was matching him pretty well on the rallies for the first 6 games. It was just that game on his serve where it was a crazy amount of juices and break points where it all kind of fell away. He needs to serve well as well, because that was one of the main differences. Was Medvedev could serve his way out of trouble better than Thiem could in that set as well. And yeah, just tighten things up a bit. But I'm fairly used to Thiem spraying errors. I've been watching him for a very long time, so we'll see if he can recover in time. But it's going to be tough, very tough.
As we just hit the hour mark, it's 6-3, 30 love. Daniil Medvedev serving first in this set because he managed to get that second break there to seal the first set. Srihari, what are your thoughts?
For what's to come, I hope Medvedev just closes it out. It's in a way similar to how, not to be overly optimistic, but how their 2019 Montreal quarterfinal has panned out so far. Medvedev going up 6-3, with 2 breaks in the first set. And he ended up, I think, almost bageling Thiem in the second set, but he did win it 6-1. So that match, I remember it getting away from Thiem pretty quickly. I hope that, just objectively speaking, I hope that doesn't happen here. But yeah, I won't be surprised if Thiem, still is able to raise his level and somehow, take the set, at least take us to a decider. But as things stand, I think the momentum's heavily in Medvedev's favor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a little image of some backstage people warming up. I have
Cerundolo.
Cerundolo there. Thank you for the highlight there. I've also seen some images from Paris Bercy this morning, I think, where various players have now already arrived ahead of next week's Masters. I'm hoping, it's not certain yet, I need to book my trip and organize a few things, but I'm hoping to go to Paris Bercy for one night next week, the Wednesday night session. I'm hoping to stop by for, so that'd be sort of second, third round time, I guess. There, who knows who'll be in action, but that's the window I have in my week where I can, fortunately, living on the continent, on the mainland of Europe, I can nip around fairly quickly, and Paris is not so far away from me. I will be going by train.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's next week. Anyway, back to the present. Medvedev is held his serve fairly comfortably, so it's 6-3. He won the first set, and he's 1 game to love up with Dominic Thiem serving. Srihari, what are your thoughts about Paris Bercy? Are there players there that, Djokovic aside, are there players there that tend to sort of perform well or above or better than they normally do at other tournaments?
In the past couple of years, or at least in 2020, Medvedev, that's where he sort of had his rejuvenation. Any particular player who tends to do better? I think there's also
Dimitrov got to the final there one
Yes.
year. That seems to be a little bit of a standout, but you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay.
Was it the final or the semis? I think he lost to Novak in the semis in 2019.
Oh, okay, it was the semis, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, that was also the year he made the semis of the US Open and, somehow managed to finish the season within the top 20. So yeah, I would say Dimitrov, someone if he's playing, I would watch out for him. Maxime Cressy, I don't know if he will be playing pretty dangerous. And did he beat somebody today? I think he beat Nori or somebody.
Did he?
Giron,
Oh, Giron, right? Okay.
Yeah, it was actually really underrated. I think. I know Nori's in a tough spot at the minute.
Right.
Giron played really well in Paris last year.
I don't know.
So Giron hang on a second. So Giron beat Cam Nori today.
Straight sets.
Yes, straight sets.
Yeah, we met. Did you guys speak about Dimitrov beating Rublev? I don't
yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did a bit. But
big
if
result,
you want to add something,
It's good to see him get.
There's also Tsitsipas against Coric, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, although Coric has fallen away a bit since that Cincinnati run.
Right, but that matchup, kind of favors Coric. So that'll be interesting because Steph did lose to Holger Rune twice in a row. Let's see if George is able to do the same thing that Holger Rune did. But yeah, I can think of Medvedev. I don't know about Alcaraz, how well he does in these conditions. But yeah, it's still.
Team is just held to love, by the way, so it's 1 game all. Sorry, but yeah. So regarding Paris Bercy, you can keep going with that. Sorry, Shrihari.
No, that's fine. I was also like sort of trying to catch the end of that game. It was a pretty comfortable.
It was a comfortable hold in the end. Obviously, a game to love, as that would suggest.
So sort of begun the way the first set began for both players. Of course, with Medvedev serving first this time. Hopefully, that's to his advantage. He's actually serving a lot better the last couple of tournaments. Not many double faults. He's finding his spots well. Both down the tee and out wide from the ad side. That's good to see. But yeah, I think I have Djokovic, Medvedev, Felix as well on my radar for that tournament. Thiem, I think Thiem got a wild card to qualies, something like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that he didn't get a wild card in the main draw directly. But I think he's definitely going to come through qualies. At this stage, he's beating the likes of Hurkacz and Tommy Paul. So yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a few more players. Any of those, big serve. There's no Kyrgios. He would have been.
Oh, that's a good backhand winner there down the line from Daniil Medvedev. By the way, Shrihari, I've got a question for you posted by Ghost in the live chat. I would like you to answer it while I dive to my kitchen to get a hot drink. So I'm going to post this now, and I'm going to ask you the question. I'll be reading it out. So it's a question for you, Shrihari. Is the Lacoste logo an alligator or a crocodile?
Okay. I'm not sure if he knows and he's testing if I do, or yeah. Well, I guess it's a crocodile. It should maybe. I'm gonna go with crocodile because
it should be.
Yeah, because there was that slogan, on Novak's merchandise: "Let's croc the court." If it was an alligator, I don't see why it wouldn't.
Wouldn't really make sense.
I have no idea. No. I'm just gonna go with crocodile.
I assume it is.
Yeah, it's something interesting. You see the Red Bull, sort of booth over there, and you have Daniil's name next to his, and next to Thiem, you have that slogan, in Austrian or German, I'm not sure. Off gets Domi.
Just waiting for them to pan the camera to Thiem.
Oh, it's German, yeah. It's
I think it means I think it's like "let's go," like "vamos" in Spanish.
Yes, it's "let's go." Yeah, because I've seen people use it for swear. So yeah, of course it's German. I don't even know if there's a language called Austrian. That probably isn't. But
no, there isn't. But there is quite a strong dialect. And funnily enough, when he's doing, and I was talking to Jethro about this the other day, when he's complaining about his shoes in New York a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember that outburst.
It was against Medvedev.
Yeah, it was against.
It's even more epic because there's no one else there to listen to him screaming because there's no one in the stadium really.
You could just hear
I mean, towards the end, I heard him scream "hardcore." If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he did. And I listen. I think he's complaining that it's almost like he's wearing shoes for the wrong type of court. That's what. I don't know how Adidas felt about that, but of course we've had a few other outbursts from players. We had Andreescu this year complaining about her outfit from Nike, and then she had to put out a social media post to keep Nike happy. I think because she's like, "Oh, I love Nike," afterwards. But anyway,
she really badmouthed her outfit. I think, they were probably not very pleased. Whereas Thiem's rant was just hilarious.
It was.
He just slipped, and he won. I mean, he won in straight sets. It's not like he couldn't move.
Yeah, I mean, he went. It's like Medvedev went up a break early in that set, and he still lost it. Hit set point on serve. Second set again, up a break early, 5-4. Okay, fine. He didn't close it out. The tiebreaker was a long one, right? It was 9-7 for Thiem. Painful.
That was in the middle of the night for me, that match. So
honestly, I think the winner of that match was gonna win the title.
Yeah, I would say so.
Pretty much. So
I mean, if Carreño Busta had the mental strength that
who knows, right?
He would have been in the final, and that would have been really cool for him.
No,
I still can't believe he choked that.
What if we had Thiem and Carreño Busta in the final? Thiem having his sort of letdowns in the big finals. What was the record? 2-7 at this moment. 2 wins and 7 losses.
Something like I think that is it.
Like, I was really shocked to see that he was 6-2, 5-1 down when I saw the score first in that final. That, yeah,
Oof, it was awful. I was watching. Yeah, like it was nighttime here, and
nice drop shot.
It was stressful, and I don't think it finished until about 2 a.m. And I was like, you know what? It wasn't the highest quality match, but that was an amazing occasion because that was just so gripping.
It was a shame that it wasn't a packed stadium. I think Thiem deserved that kind of glory.
Oh, it's so sad because like I've tried rewatching the championship point, and he like falls on the floor, and you can literally just hear like 10 to 15 people clapping, and that's literally it. It's just like it's horrible.
Yeah, you had a few more people coming in towards the end of that match, and really shaky as well. Like Zverev serves for it. Like he has 30 all, the 30-40 something. No, not 30 all, 30-40 gets broken. Thiem hits those crazy forehand down the line winners, like 4-5, 30 all. Serves for it 6-5, gets broken back.
I cannot believe he got broken back. I was I was a wreck.
Yeah, I can imagine if Medvedev had that kind of match. I mean, I remember not anywhere close, but like that match against Zverev in Turin, the round robin. Like I literally was a wreck. I'm like, this match should have been done long back. And
you probably had similar feelings in the Australian Open final this year, no?
Oh yeah, I don't want to talk about. Oh, nice.
The Nadal fan of me can't help but absolutely love it. But I sympathize.
And then like we're in that long 2-all game in the fourth set, and then Nadal, I think he breaks. I think he broke back after going up a break, and I was like, how is this match not done already? Like it's crazy. And then oh my god, that 2-3 game, like love 40, and then like I think he had love 15 on 3-4 as well in the third set. Holy crap! Yeah,
it's crazy.
By the way, Shrihari, I've got something here for you from Ghosty. He suggests that now it's a trick question. It's neither a croc or a gator. It's Djokovic in a Godzilla costume.
If this was the answer, I wouldn't have racked my brain so much. Yeah, like I went with crocodile. I mean, I did give my reasoning for it as well, because there was that Djokovic merchandise which said, let's croc the court, right? Okay. It's probably
I don't think that's a good idea to have that slogan as you're trying to enter Australia, by the way. Let's croc the port. That might be a little hidden message there. But listen, Ghosty, either way, Ghosty, whether it's a croc or a gator, either way, I don't want to be coming across it and trying to find out. I'll just... what's the best way to get away from a gator, by the way, or crocodile? Should you run away? Should you walk backwards? Should you find some stairs to climb or a mountain or something?
You give them pets. They're very affectionate animals. Yeah.
I'm going to go out. I'm going to leave the stream. I'm going to find a crocodile and see how that pans out. I'm
excited to see that.
You'll hear from me again soon. Anyway, jokes aside, we are at 30 all here. So Thiem under a spot of pressure, and he's put himself under even more pressure. And guess what? It's an on the forehand.
That particular shot, I think he's missed at least 10 times this match.
Yeah.
Like the
it's
forehand.
Now break point 30-40. Sorry, Shuhir, just cut you off there. I know. But yeah, he's hit it so many times. You're right. And I'm just going to talk the audience through this point because it is 30-40 now. So Dominic, Thiem.
I'm going to mute you guys because you're ahead of me. I don't want to spoil it.
Right.
Yeah, I should do that as well. John is ahead of me. So.
Oh, am I? Well, Dominic Thiem has just put a forehand into the net. And Shrihari, Jethro's face tells it all. It's now a breakdown. Medvedev is a set and a breakup. Jethro, tell me.
Oh, it's such a shame.
Such a poor forehand into the net.
Yeah, I mean, two really bad forehands. I think, from what I'm seeing, I think it's the low ball on the forehand that's really struggling. He's not getting through and over it. And Medvedev's, he's hitting it low and flat, and Thiem's not usually troubled by that. But
that was such a Djokovic-esque reaction to that miss towards his ball. I miss.
I love it when Djokovic does that. It's so funny. Murray's quite similar as well.
What drove me to him.
Scott put out a really funny tweet about Murray actually not long ago.
About him smiling.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I
hilarious.
saw that. Yeah.
He said most tennis players smiling on the court equals things are going well. Andy Murray smiling on the court equals things are not going well.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Yeah.
So
Oh,
good.
wait, so Andy lost. Okay.
Oh, is he lost now?
Oh, he's lost. Yeah, he's
God.
lost.
Oh, so Carreño Busta beat Dominic Stricker in 3 sets.
Yes, I saw that. He played. I watched him play against Byers on Monday. I think it was Monday, and he was crushing the ball.
Ooh, that was a really good forehand, but obviously not enough to win the point. What was that long?
I
That was in.
I thought that went long.
Oh, I saw Medvedev fist pumping. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's actually
it
a
just
pretty
landed
good
in.
smash. Like, it's really
Just landed
difficult
in.
to hit.
Oh yeah, that was inside the line.
Smashes from the baseline. It's well in, right? It didn't seem that way, considering the speed at which it was traveling. But yeah,
It's now 40-15.
why can't
By the way,
Medvedev, play the forehand this well always? Like, he's so tentative on most occasions, but like, he's striking the forehand so well today. Probably more reliable than Thiem himself. Thiem has committed so many errors today.
Stop doing the thumbs up. It's not helping anyone. God.
Yeah, I mean, especially like he should know better considering the opponent he's playing. Like, those thumbs ups.
Yeah,
Like,
that's Medvedev's trademark.
Yeah.
oh, what a return on the forehand side! Finally, Dominic
There we
Thiem winner
go.
on the forehand return. That's
Ooh.
excellent. By the way, in more Andy Murray tweets news from Scott. Here we go. I've just put it up on the screen. Of course, this Andy Murray loss will see the distant
Scott.
memory when he's holding the
Yes.
Paris Masters trophy next week.
He's a relentless optimist, and I absolutely love it. I live for it.
Yeah, I just love the humor. I just think it's brilliant.
I did say last night that Diego Schwartzman was winning the Paris Masters, so I don't know how him and
And how
Murray
they're
can
both
both
win. I
win
don't
it.
know. Maybe they will both fall over injured in the third set tiebreak at about 3-3, for example, and they just both can't continue. And they decide that for the first time
Share
in 10
share the
the
trophy.
trophy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They both get 1,000 points each. Perfect.
Yeah. Don't
Diego gets back in the top 20 where he belongs. Yeah.
There we go. Win-win.
1,000 points each. Oh, what a backhand from Medvedev, and better get from Thiem. Points still going on.
It's a great
Yeah,
point
it's still
so far.
going on.
John, don't ruin it for us. We're behind you.
Am
Yes.
I? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you're a bit ahead.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, it's
Yes,
a great
finally.
point. Great point.
Like, Thiem was defending unbelievably well, so Medvedev really had to put
Medvedev
that
wins
away.
the game to consolidate the break. So, yeah, bad news for the
These are
Austrian.
the kind of chinks in Medvedev's armor, I would say. Like, so many good shots, yet they're not the final nail in the coffin of that point. That doesn't finish the point. He needs to keep basically sometimes opponents end up doing to him what he does to others, like make them play that extra shot. So it's good to see that he's improved, because he committed so many errors, off of such similar points during that stretch he had, where he looked like he was declining on the hard courts. I think since the grass season, very similar losses to both Kyrgios and Tsitsipas.
That Kyrgios loss was disappointing. He
really
was
disappointing.
So bad.
And another thumbs up from Thiem. He's had it. I guess.
I haven't seen him this angry.
By the way, the sort of semi call that I made at the beginning of the set, it could be on because Medvedev 6-3, 4-1 up, and the Montreal match was 1-6-3, 6-1 by Medvedev.
Don't speak it into existence, okay? We don't need any more breadsticks in this matchup. Come on, team.
4-1 down.
John, team needs to grow his hair out and get blonde highlights again. That's when we'll see. That's when we'll see peak Dominic Thiem again.
And party like it's 2020.
Yeah. Oh dear.
His coach there, Masu, is wearing an interesting outfit. He's got a seemingly like a tennis shirt on with.
It's the US Open Adidas range, and it's hideous.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Is
the
that-
one Tsitsipas wore when he beat Medvedev.
And the one he wore when he lost to Galan as
Tsitsipas
well.
wore that when he
wasn't it?
beat Medvedev. Which year? What this year?
This year in Cincinnati, yes.
Oh, in Cincinnati. Adidas have had some. Yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry, good spot. They've had some fairly sketchy outfits, I would say, in the last couple of years.
Hideous, that one. I mean, it's like they're intentionally going out of their way to
Oh,
Whoa! He made that?
oh my God, that was just
Holy
unbelievable.
crap.
Yeah, what a get, and then what a winner down the line. I mean, that's point of the match easily. And he's got the thumbs up again, but this time you cannot be frustrated with that thumbs up because it's to acknowledge.
I think
the
that thumbs up
shot.
is actually
that was for
towards
Daniil.
Medvedev.
Yeah,
That's what I
personal
said. Yeah,
shot.
that's what I said. I said you
Yeah.
cannot be angry with that. He's acknowledging his
Right.
opponent there.
But like
So
you can see that death glare in his face too.
He's
He's like, okay, whatever, just take it. Like
yeah,
God, I thought he was going to make that one. Thought he was going to make
Just
that one as
missed.
well. In a way, though, as much
Almost.
as it's not good to see Thiem being all sarcastic, like it is also good in a way because I think he's now in his mind like these are matches I can win again,
I agree.
and he's pissed off that he's made errors and let the match get away from him, which I think,
Yeah.
which is a very positive sign
that's
because
pretty much what happened
know.
for sure. If he managed to hold in that what was that 3-all game in the first set, you just never know. So
yeah, we're a long way away from Thiem losing in straight sets to someone on the challenger circuit. We're fresh off a good win against Tommy Paul and keeping it
I
competitive
don't
against
want to see
Medvedev.
that. No.
Oh, John, this is unfair. This is a hate crime.
So for those of you watching that want to know what this T-shirt is we're talking about, this is the one that Nicholas Massou is currently rocking in the audience. He's decided he's gone into his wardrobe this morning and thought, how can I support my man? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wear
Was
this
that
T-shirt.
wide?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it's 30 all now. The team.
Yeah, and also to whoever's seeing this, do not buy that, please.
It's like 60 pounds as well from the LS website. It's ridiculous.
That's 60 pounds too much, I guess.
Yeah, don't buy it. Don't like any like Tsitsipas fanboys or whatever. Don't see your idol wearing that and think.
No, that
"Oh,
the thing with Steph is that even if you throw a hideous outfit at him, he can sort of look good in that. He
Oh
can
yeah,
make
no,
it work.
he's a very very good looking guy and he can pull it
Yeah.
off. But the general public wearing that is just
Right, don't please.
Yes.
Oh, backhand down the line. from
Great
Thiem.
shot. Yeah, no, Tsitsipas can pull off pretty much anything Adidas throw him. Maybe I reckon that's what they're doing. They're product testing by trying to think of the worst design possible. And they're like, once Tsitsipas looks bad in one of our kits, then we'll start doing normal ones again. I think that's what's going on.
What about I thought the AO collection was enough. Like the shorts, which, sort of a questionable design. Like,
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we won't go into details what
Yeah.
the shorts look like, but yeah,
yeah,
hideous.
I'll just leave it at that. But
Tay's been doing good kits for Fila for Diego. They did some lovely kits this season.
yeah, some of the pink ones were they from this season? They were really
Yeah,
good.
the pink French Open one was so
Yeah.
nice. Oh, I loved it.
Nick chiming in, peak commentary.
Ah,
By the way, but I still think this mic. I mean, you sent me a picture the other day. You were very excited by it, and I think it's completely understandable.
Oh, I love it. Does it sound good? Do I need to sort the volume out or?
no, it sounds
No, it
amazing.
sounds great. By the way, here's probably a
Fantastic.
question for you, Jethro. Answer this from Nick. Can't watch, but his team struggling to take it to Medvedev.
Since 3-0, yes.
Yeah, since 3-0 on the first set. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was holding his own. He had a break point as well, I think, at 3-4 as Medvedev was trying to consolidate. But yeah, I think that the forehand has just got too loose generally.
And Medvedev's serving really well as well. So
Now he is.
it's team struggling with his errors anyway, and Medvedev's getting 3 points on top of it. Oh, we've lost John. Oof, good return from Medvedev. Christ.
Whoa, nice.
Team was slow to get to that. It kind of caught him by surprise, I think. Come on, Dominic. Just don't get breadsticked again. Like, we can't have this.
6-3, 6-1
Not
on the
on a
cards
Not on
too.
a Thursday. It's Friday tomorrow. I want to at least not be miserable tonight.
Right.
For
By
those
the
of
way,
you
like
watching,
we'll pick up where we will be leaving off today, tomorrow on Popcorn Tennis, with a special guest to talk about this very matchup in these two very players. Very convenient for us that they did end up playing as well.
Mhm.
Okay, that was
Great minds think alike, because I was literally just about to announce that we were
Right.
recording podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, probably would have done a better job at that than I would have,
No.
because I was actually like watching the replay as I was speaking.
Yeah, that was a
So that's
great
why it
shot.
was sort of a laggish announcement, but yeah.
By the way, I've just had a question in the live chat about Hurkacz and Rusevori. I can tell you exactly what's going on there, by the way, Jane. Hurkacz and Rusevori shared the first two sets, so it's into a third, but Hurkacz is a breakup in the third. So Hurkacz at the moment, you'd say, is a hot favorite to win that match. So it's one set all, but Hurkacz is a breakup in the third. Hope that answers your question, Janie.
Oh, I like Rusevori. I like both of them actually, but Rusevori strikes the ball so
I
cleanly.
think Rusevori did beat Hurkacz this year somewhere.
I think so. I can't
I
remember
do
where.
remember that. And then Hurkacz did beat him the week after. It was
Also-
Washington, I think. Yeah, it was Washington.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nico Masu looks pissed off.
right.
I don't think he's too happy with. I don't know if he's just frustrated that team's not playing well, or if he's annoyed with team being sarcastic with him. But they have such a good relationship, so I don't think he's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Gilles Silva literally walk out of Medvedev's matches, so that's nothing.
Yeah, in
Yeah, but I understand why he walks out, because he's getting
Yeah, me too. Like, you don't want somebody just screaming at you for,
I'm amazed
nothing they
Kyrgios's
do there.
box doesn't just walk out all the time.
Yeah, Kyrgios. I mean, every match he has to say, "Get the f out of my box." Like,
I remember watching, and like this isn't a new thing. People going about Kyrgios being like some revelation this year. I remember watching the French Open in 2015, and he was playing against Gasquet. And
that was 16. Yeah, I remember that. He was like,
Gasquet was playing beautifully,
Right.
and Kyrgios spent the entire match screaming at his brother to get the f out of my box. Like he
Right.
did not stop saying it between the change of ends.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's really weird, and they're absolutely fine with it, and they just sit there like,
Yeah,
go Nick.
and like I remember. Right. I remember in that Medvedev match at the US Open as well. It was like, oh, coaching is allowed. Like, you can coach and everything. Like, tell me what to do. He's screaming at his box. And you have his dad and like his brother just like you said. It's like, I mean, yeah, well, 2015.
It's gone long again, and he's done that sort of thing where he's gone down almost on his
Oh my
knees. And it's like, oh my goodness, not again on the forehand.
It's the whip is not going well for him today. I don't know if it's
That's a let off
speed of
for
the
sure.
wrist.
Because Medvedev, I mean, he dumped a pretty easy drop shot, which he didn't even have to go for a drop shot at 30 love. And I thought, okay, is this one of those umpteen number of games which he's lost from a commanding position this year? But
trust me,
still
as a team fan, I can
okay.
relate. He loves getting broken from 40-15 now.
Medvedev has held, so he's now 5-2 up at the change of ends Thiem is almost disconsolately going back to his chair there. It's 6-3.
I mean, I'm definitely happy with the way Medvedev has played.
He's been excellent. I've been very impressed actually.
Very clutch. For most part, there wasn't really any slip up. During it, there was that one break point which he faced, which he also saved with that serve out wide 4-3. But other than that, really like excellent performance and like favorite to win this title. Honestly, I mean, being the top seed, of course, but wait, is Hurkacz playing Vienna or Basel? It's Vienna, right? Yeah,
he is in Vienna.
Yeah.
Basically, Hurkacz just enters every tournament that team's in the hopes of pigeonizing him more.
Right. I mean,
I'm glad I've watched this as a watch along, because I've been able to be a lot more objective. If it's just me on my own, we need to start doing this with Diego matches, because I lose it.
Always ends up in like ever since at Wimbledon, like fourth
Oh,
round.
God.
Which, I mean, I cannot talk about it enough. Such a big chance for Medvedev to at least make the final. Yes, we've spoken about that Berrettini match where maybe he wouldn't have been as comfortable playing him on grass because Berrettini's it probably his best surface. I think it is. He's won
Yeah.
Queens back to back. He's made the final at Wimbledon, so sure, grass is his best surface. But yeah, Medvedev, he played so well. I mean, if you look at his draw, he had Struff in the first round, who beat him in Halle. Yeah, he had Alcaraz in the second round, who was honestly sure not anywhere near the Alcaraz he is at this moment, but he was playing some amazing tennis in that match. Still lost to Medvedev because he was that good. That comeback win against Cilic in the third round from 2 sets
Yeah,
down.
that was crazy.
Fourth round, really should not be anywhere close to losing that, but then suspension of play, and then the next day it's just like so weird what happened.
It was a different Medvedev stepped on court the following day.
Yeah,
and it was a real shame that they didn't put the match on at centre court.
Yeah,
Medvedev has just won that point with an excellent backhand cross
I thought it had gone
really
wide.
good.
No, I thought it had gone wide. And I think Medvedev thought it might have done too as he sort of crouched down, but it just landed in, it seems.
Yeah, it was in.
I mean,
Close call,
I can't really
according.
tell with Thiem's body language if he's winning or losing points by anymore. But
Yeah, same with Medvedev. He's is ready to serve like seconds after. Sometimes I just don't realize he's double faulted. So
yeah.
like
Anyway, Dominic Thiem
love
now
30,
up 30
okay.
down. So I'm just going to talk us through these couple of points because he's 2 points away from defeat. Medvedev won the first set 6-3. He's 5-2 up, but he's threatening here. He's just 2 points away from winning. Love 30 on the Dominic Thiem serve. Thiem will be desperate to get a first serve in here. I'm going to be talking us through these points, so you might want to put me on mute so I don't upset you with the lag. He's got his first serve in, and it's enough to win the point as it became an unreturnable. Medvedev will be slightly disappointed. I think he maybe have just got his anticipation wrong there on that one. So it's 15-30.
Hi.
15-30. Okay.
Jethro, is he going to win this game? Thiem?
Oh, I don't know. I just don't think it's just not. It's just his body language just isn't positive enough. I don't think. And Medvedev's just closing in. I hope he can hold, but yeah.
Anyway, here we go. Forehands they're exchanging at the moment, and he's hit the line this time with his forehands. That's good. He's got a smash now. It was an excellent forehand as it turned out, although there was a net cord during that point, and he's now got it back to 30 all. He can breathe a slight element of relief there, if you like. It was an excellent forehand that set that up that ended up clipping the line, but he must have been concerned that he might go long again, bearing in mind how often that's happened. Anyway, smashing it away to bring it back to 30 all. I'm going to talk us through this point again because it is very, very nervy time still for the Austrian. Should he lose this point, he would then be facing match point. It's 30 all. Dominic Thiem, can you get your first serve in? Let's see how this pans out. Yes, you can. It's now on the forehand of Dominic Thiem. This one times it lands in quite comfortably. Backhand slice from Dominic Thiem goes fairly deep. Backhand slice again. Now on the forehand of Medvedev to the forehand of Dominic Thiem. And it's an excellent forehand, but it's not enough to win the point. Is he going to win it this time? Yes, he is. 40-30. Game point. Good defense from Medvedev, but it wasn't
Finally.
enough.
That forehand down the line finally gets firing.
Yeah, right. Because it was the forehand down the line on the backhand side of Medvedev, which has been catching him out so often today. But this time it's been consistent in this game at least. But if only if it could have been consistent earlier on in the match, he may well be having a different tale.
Yeah, some more positive body language there as well.
Despite the sketchiness of some of Adidas's outfits, they never let Dominic Thiem down. I mean, today it's fairly okay. I think the one that he won the US Open in a few years ago, the pink and grey number, that was quite cool. I would suggest.
That was a nice kit. I've really liked his Australian Open 2020 kit.
Purple and white.
And it went with his hair. It went with his hair really nicely.
It did go with his hair, but the other problem with that kit is that Zverev had the same outfit, and of course they played each other in semi-finals.
I think it was a little different for Zverev and like the sort of combination. When it was the same was in 2016 Roland Garros, the zebra outfit.
I love that kit. That's Thiem's favorite kit he's ever had because he loves animals. which is
All right.
because
Yeah.
that kit was.
I think he's also
interesting.
gone vegan now, because he mentioned on an Insta story or like a comment, like something about chicken, and he was like, sure, as long as it's vegan. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, I remember him getting asked about this on a Q&A on a story a while back, and he said he's trying to be, but sometimes
Like
eats
on
meat.
Q&A, he said that he's trying to be and that he's not yet.
Yeah, but I think he's getting closer and closer. But he's very big on saving the environment and all this.
Yeah.
I think he said last year, he said he would give up winning another Grand Slam if it meant saving the planet, which is quite nice. You don't really hear that from tennis players very often. It's kind of all tennis. So it's
I mean,
nice
I've heard a guy saying that he'd give up winning Grand Slams for a vaccine, but I'm not. Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, I would commit some crimes for Diego to win his first to win a French Open. I'd
pretty bad double fault from Medvedev.
Don't put me on record for that.
Back to the Öster Open in Vienna. Öster is a bank, by the way, for those of you that care, which I imagine is very few. Anyway, it's 15 all on the forehand of Medvedev there. We're now on the backhand of Medvedev. Thiem just trying to stay in the point right now with some defensive forehands. It's doing pretty well at staying in the point, forcing Medvedev to make an extra shot. It's now got a smash. That was a tricky one. And tell you what, Thiem's still in the point. And in fact, he's more or less neutralized the rally. Excellent play there from Dominic Thiem, but maybe not the best smash in the world, but it wasn't easy for Medvedev. That's still in the rally. Is that going to be a backhand winner from Thiem? Not quite. But he's now on the forehand. Is that going to be a forehand winner? Not quite. This is turning into an epic. Oh, he's gone wide on the forehand. All that work. All that work to get yourself back in the rally.
How has he missed the easiest shot of the rally? Oh,
that was
Medvedev clipped the edge of the line twice as well.
Yeah. The unfortunate end to such an amazing rally.
Amazing rally. I mean, okay, it was a tricky smash for Daniil Medvedev. He didn't quite really make it a successful one, if you like. And but Thiem so often was just struggling to keep in the point, and then it was Medvedev struggling to keep in the point, but both of them defending very well, making each other play an extra shot, so to speak. And it was enough for Thiem to end up dominating the last couple of shots because of some excellent shots, but he goes wide with the forehand. Anyway, now it's 30-15 on the forehand of Medvedev to the forehand of Thiem. Backhand of Medvedev going cross court. Now it's Thiem on the defensive this time. It's Thiem on the defensive again, being pushed around the court by Daniil Medvedev, but Medvedev goes wide into the tram line. It's 30 all. 2 points from victory once again, Daniil Medvedev. He's yet to have a match point, but he is serving for the match as we speak, so he's still the hot favorite, but he'll be disappointed with that forehand. Medvedev now serving again, 30 all. Is he going to get a first serve in here? Thiem will be desperate that he doesn't, but he does, and it's an ace. And Dominic Thiem again does that sort of floppy thing where it's like, what can I do? What can I do?
How many lines has he painted in the last game? Good Lord.
Yeah, just needs
insane.
to out. That's something I was anxious about, like sort of getting nervy or getting tight towards the end of the match.
Match point now here. So it's down the line, down the tee, sorry, for Medvedev. Backhand is gone wide, and it is game, set, and match to Daniil Medvedev in straight sets. And a smiling coach there. He'll be pleased. There's a thumbs up to the crowd from Daniil Medvedev, and he's saying well played to his opponent. But Medvedev just too good, Jethro.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Medvedev had some lovely words there. I can't actually hear it, obviously, because I've been listening to this. But yeah, just a shame from Thiem's end, really. And he was really in that match for the first 6 games. But yeah, the errors started to come. And to be honest, Medvedev played really, really well. But overall, pretty encouraging, I would say, for Thiem. 6-3, 6-3 to one of the best hardcourt players in the world isn't too shabby, really. And the fact that he was so annoyed with himself, I think, shows that he knows that he's not far away from winning these matches or being really competitive in them. So it's not the end of the world. This was always Medvedev's match to win, really. So Yeah.
Some stats from today. Dominic Thiem
Yeah, I
just
mean, look at
winning
the winners in the second set. Just ramped up from Medvedev. 14
Yeah.
winners to 5 in the second set, while it was 15-5 in Thiem's favor in the first set. I'm just thoroughly impressed and just really happy with this performance because, yes, it's not the exact same team who Medvedev last faced in their previous encounter, but he is, I mean, being aware of the kind of opponent he is and the kind of matchup this is, and how good Thiem is, as a player, and the fact that he's climbing up, he's gotten some really good wins. Definitely, like, Medvedev had to bring this kind of level, to win this match, and I think that's one thing that team fans and team as well can be really encouraged about, is that it took such a high level from Medvedev from start to finish. I don't think there were too many dips. It's really dialed in. He's playing. He was defending really well from the back of the court. He was striking the forehand really well. He served really well as well too. Especially for the kind of year he's had with plenty of double faults. So yeah, that's and Thiem definitely had his moments as well in the match. There's some unbelievable rallies, some rocket backhand down the line winners, and also forehands as well, which, I mean, eventually did let him down. Too many forehands went long, but yeah, I think overall, as a Medvedev fan, I'm really pleased with this performance, I should say. And Sinner possibly next, which I'm really interested by.
Ooh, Sinner. So if Sinner wins his match, who's Sinner playing?
Cerundolo. Cerundolo. And said last time they played, Sinner had to retire in Miami.
Yeah, just like 2 games or 3 games after.
Yeah, it's speaking of Sinner, it's been a really amazing year in some ways and a real shame in others. And it's kind of I think him and Berrettini have both had it really rough with injuries. Both, like, they really, like, Italy should have 2 top 10 players right now, really. And a mixture of COVID injuries, Wimbledon points. It's
and 2 players possibly at the ATP Tour Finals as well in Turin, which of course was a shame for both of them not to make it.
Yeah, especially Sinner, because I think if you're taking the top 8 players of the year, Sinner's definitely in there in terms of quality. But
Hi, Ashley, by the way, great to have you on board. I'm just going to say, I'm going to take that off the screen now because, of course, Medvedev has won. We've got Sinner here. Looks like he's warming up. He's about to get on. Oh, he's actually in the midst of a match against Garin, actually. So 6-3.
No, this is a replay, John.
Oh, it's a replay of yesterday.
He plays Cerundolo now. How would he be against?
Yes, you said Cerundolo. Sorry, yeah. Anyway, yes, he's coming up. So live aus Wien, as they say in German. So that's Jannik Sinner coming up. Nice to have you on board anyway, Ashley, as I said. But there's been some obviously other action today. We've obviously had Bautista Agut beating Andy Murray in straight sets. Bublik went through, by the way, and there was an interesting exchange at the net, and that's sort of typical Bublik, really. I don't know what he was saying, but it just sort of looked like he was trying to give some advice to his opponent. But Bublik is a character, let's say, and anyway, there we go. Listen, final thoughts from you, Shrihari, on today's match and Daniil Medvedev in general.
Yeah, the way he's playing, last couple of tournaments, and the way he played today especially, I'd be pretty surprised to see him. I mean, if he does not end up winning this tournament, he's definitely the heavy favorite, and he should be beating pretty much everybody who's left in the draw.
There's a comment here from Ghosty about Sinner's loss to Alcaraz. Yes, that was in the quarterfinals. You are right, because Alcaraz went on to play Tiafoe in the semis. That must have knocked him a bit. I mean, it's a tough loss, obviously, but what a match that was. Should fill him more with confidence. Jethro, back to today though. What about Dominic Thiem? Where are we at? Are we still as optimistic as we were, say, 2 hours ago, or has that knocked our confidence a bit?
Definitely. If anything, it's definitely not, diminished at all. I wouldn't say it's necessarily improved the hope, but yeah, I mean, I can't really say I'm, upset or surprised about the result. A lot of it was down to Thiem's errors, which, of course, Medvedev was exceptional, but it's not like you watch them playing out there and you're like, oh, our team's just nowhere near this level of tennis. You know, it was really tight in that first set for a while. So yeah, there's plenty of positives still to take away from that. He hit some great shots, some great rallies. The game's just not quite there yet, and we already knew that. And you can get away with some poor service games here and there against top 30, top 20 players now and again, but you're not gonna get away with that against Medvedev, who's recently been world number one. He's US Open champion. He's probably going to win a lot more Grand Slams in his career, I would say, Medvedev. So, it's one of the toughest tests he could have had. So, yeah, it's really not worrying at all.
I've got some questions for you about both players before we leave. Let's go back to you first, Jethro. Dominic Thiem, is he ever going to win a Grand Slam again?
Oh, my God. I think it's too early to say if he'll win one. I think we can say that he'll probably be competing at quarterfinal, semi-final, maybe further level, in the next year or two. Maybe even by Melbourne, who knows? These things, it's all mental with him, it might just switch. But what slam that is, I don't know. I'm not sure about the French Open anymore, because although clay was his best surface, I kind of see him slightly better on hard courts at times now. So I can see him winning the US Open again. Maybe it's going to be interesting, between Djokovic, Medvedev, Thiem if he's peaking again, Alcaraz, Zverev's going to be there, Tsitsipas if he sorts out his issues. There's going to be a lot of competition on the hard courts and at the French Open as well. So I would love a team just to surprise everyone and just win Wimbledon for just out of nowhere. It's like, oh, I won a grass court tournament in 2016. God, didn't guys? By
the way, Jethro, Ghosty's off, but he says thanks to us all. Thanks also to Shrihari as well, and the special guest, your new microphone. He's also rocking some languages here as well. Certainly, there's some Spanish and Russian in there, and I have no idea what that last language is, but maybe Japanese, I don't know. I dare say he may well be using a little bit of that tool called Google Translate to help, although maybe other translation tools are available. Shrihari, now to you. Daniil Medvedev, is he going to win 5 slams or more, or is he going to win 4 or less? Which of those two sides would you fall on?
Obviously, it's a little hard to predict. There's a lot of circumstances surrounding it. But I'm going to be bold and say 5 or more.
I think that's
just because there are 2 out of 4 Grand Slams on a hard court. Not just that. And the only reason why I'm a bit ambiguous about Wimbledon is that, obviously, one, you're more prone to getting upset there. And 2, I don't know if he's going to be allowed to play. In one of the upcoming couple of editions at least, and then by the time maybe the Russian and Belarusian players are allowed to play, I don't know if he'll be knocking on 30s or be in his late 20s. I think right now is probably the best age. That's when Thiem maximized, if I'm not wrong, won his first Masters at 26 and first Slam at close to 28. So yeah, I think Medvedev has a pretty amazing resume as it is, and I hope. At least at the ATP Final 7 at the Masters level, he goes back to his regular winning ways and the Medvedev that we know, that we've known for the better part of the last 3 years.
Listen, like Ghosty here, he's saying peace to all, and he's got a Ghosty out. I think it's time for us to depart as well. Jethro, thank you to you, to your microphone, and to your support, Dominic Thiem.
It's carried me all the way.
Let's see how far it can carry you. But thanks for coming along, Jethro. Shrihari, absolutely the same for you. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you check out some of Shrihari and I's conversations about Garbiñe Muguruza and Daniil Medvedev. We've had those in the last week or two. Make sure you check out my chat with Jethro about Dominic Thiem, which we recorded a couple of days ago, but I'm sure it's still valid today as it was then. And to the rest of you, thanks for stopping by.
Cheers, guys.